Aging Matters on BCTV is supported by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging.
Hello and welcome to Aging Matters. This is a program that's provided by and sponsored by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging. My name is Ann Barlet and I'm the Public Advocacy and Outreach Manager for the agency and your host for the show. I have a wonderful pleasure this evening of having as my guest Doug Graybill, and he is one of the founders, along with his wife Liz Graybill, of Veterans Making a Difference. And I wanted to start first by acknowledging your service to our country, both your and Liz's service. I think Liz was, as I'm getting this right, a U.S. Army retired veteran, and Doug was a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Unfortunately, Liz couldn't be with us this evening. A last-minute illness has kept her at home, but we're thinking of her, and I know that she's doing good work with this program, Veterans Making a Difference organization, and so we want to share that with others tonight. So thank you for being with me, Doug. I appreciate
thanks for inviting us. I wish he was here.
Well, tell me, I would like you to talk a little bit about your service, both yours and Liz's service.
All right. Well, in 1969, I was in 10th grade. I quit school and joined the Marine Corps. And then I went to Vietnam. I was 5'2". I was a tunnel rat, while I was in Vietnam. I was in the service 3 years. Then I got out, and I was out for 10 years. I was married a couple of times. Wasn't able to keep a job. I always worked, but just didn't keep the same job, and was in trouble, and went to jail a couple of times. I would beg the police to shoot me. I hated everyone.
Okay.
And then in 1982, I went back in the service, and I ended up in Beirut, Lebanon 3 times, and in Grenada, and that was for 2.5 years. So I have 6 years active duty. Then I was in the Army Reserve for 2 years, the Marine Reserve for 2 years, and the National Guard for 2 years.
Wow.
And, I was antisocial. I just didn't like anyone, and stayed to myself. And I met Liz, and Liz was still in the Army when I met her. She was in 23 years.
Oh, my.
She was deployed 5 times.
Oh,
she was in Iraq for 2 years, a year each, twice, and then Bosnia for 2 years, a year each, and Saudi Arabia. So,
wow.
Again, I wanted to change. I didn't want to be a lonely old man, and I'll be 68 in a couple of months, and we've been married 13 years now.
Wow, how wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, and obviously you had things in common, but both of your service-related experiences, you certainly had that commonality, the common bond, I think, that probably brought you together, didn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes she thinks she's still in the Army, but we speak the same terminology.
Watch, she'll call in and remind you.
We speak the same terminology, and she, was really instrumental in getting me. I belong to different veterans groups, and that's how we kind of got started. She pushed me to go to the meetings, and then she was a veteran service officer for the county, and we kept hearing about homeless veterans. There was a big push to get the homeless housed, and so I went around. And since I was homeless a few times, I could understand
the situations and
went
the
around
circumstances.
and helped all homeless, and then the veteran population got
hold
larger.
on. You helped all homeless. How did you do that, Doug?
Well, I mean, not just the veterans, but the non-veterans.
Anybody who was homeless.
Right.
And how did you decide to start doing that?
Well, we started making deliveries around Christmas time for the Red Cross. We were delivering food and things to widows of veterans and disabled veterans.
All right.
And I saw how lonely some of the people were, and then, like I said, I was going out along the river and under the bridges.
Well, we're familiar with some of the homeless, I guess, camps or shelter areas.
And the veteran population, got larger and larger, and
in those homeless areas.
Right, and there's different types of homeless. The truly homeless in tents, and then you have sheltered homeless and couch surfers, and then the largest population is at risk of homeless. The last week of the month, no diapers, no food. And I was working with the Greater Berks Food Bank, which is helping harvest now.
Yes.
And every Friday I was picking up a lot of food, and I would deliver that to some of the camps and to some homes, and then some veterans would come to the house and pick up boxes of food.
Okay.
So we were doing that for many years.
Wow. Okay.
I believe we started in 2008, 2009. And then,
And again, all because you had that initial that connection to those
Yeah.
folks with your past experience.
I keep saying it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what your financial status is loneliness, and so we wanted to start a veterans center, and Customer Bank and Dick East and Jim Leupold, they started having fundraisers for us, and
Okay.
we were in the Hope Rescue Mission using the ground floor, a couple of rooms there, and it was all beat up.
You just had that space. How did you
Yeah.
connect with the Hope Rescue Mission?
Well, it's a shelter for men, and there were quite a few veterans there. So
Okay.
different groups were making lunches for us and giving me donations. So I would go out to the camps, and then I'd always end up in their parking lot.
Okay.
And they knew what I was doing, and they knew what my plans were, and they offered up some space. And
Wow.
like I said, they had some fundraisers and raised money to renovate the
So,
space.
so the Hope Rescue Mission said, "Hey, we see what you're doing.
Yeah.
We know you're helping the homeless, particularly with a focus on the veterans."
Yeah.
And you said there were veterans there, right? That also
yeah.
were at the shelter.
It's a great place, too.
Yeah,
It is.
And so that space was available, wasn't being used, which is
No,
great
it was
to
a
make
warehouse.
those connections
It was
with
a
the
mess.
community.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then you said, so the fundraisers that who helped to do?
Well, it was Dick East at Customer Bank and
Okay.
Jim Leupold.
Okay.
He's in advertising. I don't know his real title, but for a couple of years they raised enough money for the renovations. And
Great. So they heard about that
Right.
need.
They asked what I wanted, and I said I'd like something similar to the activity center at the VA hospital.
okay.
Kitchen area, TV area, tables and chairs, a place where veterans can come and socialize. And they made it happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got some of they raised some money, and who helped to do the renovations? Was it a group of people?
No,
or-
it was a contractor.
Oh, okay. All
Berkey
right.
Construction and
Okay, good.
Associated Construction. Yeah, the city was there, the code department, inspectors, and everything's to ADA and the fire code, so we're handicap accessible.
And so the Hope Rescue Mission, so you're in the lower, kind of a lower area in the Hope
they
Rescue
call it
Mission.
the basement, but it's actually the first
yeah,
floor.
Yeah, it's kind of, you
Yeah.
can go right in, as you said.
Yeah,
it was,
it's-
and let me just give that address real quick so that folks know where we're talking about. The actual address is 645 North 6th Street in Reading. I always say it's kind of at this strange intersection there.
It's on the corner of 6th and Greenwich
Okay.
Street. It was the old Reading Railroad YMCA.
Okay.
So the older
Alrighty.
people would know.
Would know that. All
Yep.
right, know that
Yep.
location. And so you're in that section there, and got the funds, got the renovations done. You're handicap accessible, and so together, then it actually is it's a nonprofit 501c3
Yes.
nonprofit
Yes.
organization, which is called Veterans Making a Difference.
Yes, that's the name of our organization. And our social center is the Paul R. Gordon Veteran Social Center.
The Paul R. Gordon
Veteran
Social Center. So now we were talking a little bit. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit why you
Well,
named it that.
Paul was a good friend of ours. He passed away a few years ago. He was in, I believe, 94. He was a ball turret gunner on B-17. Before the war, he was a bootleg coal miner up in Tamaqua area.
Okay.
And so it was in August of 41, before Pearl Harbor, he joined the Army. And like I said, he was a ball turret gunner on a B-17. On his fourth mission, he was shot down. So he was a POW, prisoner of war, for 31 months.
Oh.
And he was a great guy, and
And from this area, right?
from this area.
So after that, he came back to
Yes,
the
he
area?
worked at
Okay.
Grace Mines. He retired
Oh,
from
okay,
Grace Mines
okay.
then. He was a great guy and a good friend. And he was Liz will say that he was my mentor, and
okay.
so we thought we'll name the place
Why not
after
to honor
him.
him
Yeah.
by naming it that? Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
I'm sure he would be very proud and pleased that you've done so. Well, I wanted to, we have, I took some photos of the center, so I think that we can first show at least the photo. There is the side of the building at the Hope Rescue
That
Mission.
sign was made by state prisoners.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the correctional officers from Harrisburg come down and serve meal to the vets once a quarter. So we were up in
Wow.
Harrisburg and spoke to
Okay.
that group. So they said, hey, we have different workshops in different prisons, and so
They
state
made the
prisoners
sign.
made the sign
How
for us.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And again, what a better partnership to all work together to do that. So that's kind of the side of the building and to acknowledge the entrance to the center. And this is the van.
Yes.
So tell me, let's just stay on that for a minute. It's a great looking van. So
Yes.
tell me, you obviously, besides
Well-
the center.
Well, I was using a 1985 beat up, ugly Suburban that I had, and some good friends saw me. The Suburban would smoke, and it was it was terrible. It was ugly looking, and they wanted to do something, and they bought the van for us. Yes. And,
Wow.
Yeah.
And you utilize that van how?
Making deliveries, picking up things, food. We'll have everything has been inside that van already. We've had over 3,000 pounds of food in the van.
So do you still pick the food up from the Helping
We
Harvest?
have
or all
been,
over?
but our next we're a pantry through the through Helping Harvest.
Okay.
The last Saturday of the month is our official pantry day. So I was that Friday I would pick up
Okay.
the food.
Okay.
But I have back problems, so we're going to pay a little extra, and they'll deliver it for us.
Okay. But that van was used to
It's used
take
every
the money
day.
for the food pantry.
Yes, we use
It's
it
at the
every
center.
day. Yes.
And now, do you, because of your earlier experience, you were talking about taking some food and whatever out to the homeless. Are you still using the van at all to kind of do that, or
Well,
what other uses of the van?
No, I do make deliveries. We go out to the Army Reserve Center over in Shillington. They're on
Okay,
724.
Okay.
There's 3 different units there, and they're all young troops and with young families. So we get a lot of diapers over there, food and clothing, and Christmas time we take a lot of toys.
Wow.
So we make
Okay.
maybe once a month we'll run a van load of stuff over there, and then in Reading on 8th and Court is the Province House. They have 18 to 25 veterans at any given time living there. About 80 people live there, low-income seniors. And so we kind of adopted that place, and so we're always running there. And a couple other
And you're
places.
providing similar, maybe
food
some
and
clothing.
clothing,
Okay.
yes. I'll call them up and say, hey, I have this, and
Okay.
they tell me, hey, Doug, we'll take anything.
Wow.
And on 9th Street is City Lights. I make some deliveries there. And then on South 6th Street is, I call it the Yellow Church. It's a soup kitchen. I think it's New Journey.
Yeah, okay,
something.
okay.
So I make deliveries there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Boss Cubs, they've loaded that van many times with, they have Christmas in July for us.
Oh, isn't that nice?
For I don't know how many years now, 7 years. And then
Wow.
at Christmas they have angel trees. So they Boss Cubs have filled that van many times throughout the year.
That's wonderful. That's
Yes.
wonderful that you have the vehicle to do it, and the support from all of those avenues in the community, and the fact that you are working with other groups to support them in what you do.
I go at one time every Wednesday a different VFW would make lunches or give us supplies. So I'm running out there and
Wow.
different VFWs.
That's
and,
wonderful.
yeah,
That's
American
wonderful.
Legions and VFWs. Yeah.
It's the community working together, isn't it?
Yes. The community support is amazing. We
Yep.
wouldn't be able to do what we do without the support of the community. Yeah.
Well, let's look further. So now that we've seen the outside of the building and the van and the things that you use that for, took some photos inside and some video inside. So we're kind of entering. This is kind of the direct entrance
Yeah.
into the center here. Kind of a first stop greeting, I suppose, as we go in, and you can see that this kind of is the first kind of area that you see, right, as you enter.
Yeah, and that front lobby, it was a desk with a sign-in book, so all the veterans, it's a veteran center, so we say it's family friendly but we'd like, because the
focus is
veterans
on the
speak the
veteran.
same language,
Yep,
so there's
absolutely.
a sign-in book, and
Okay.
we get about 35 veterans on the average every day,
Okay,
every morning
wow,
that sign in.
Great. So let's see where else we're going here.
That's the center right there. And on some days, pantry day, we could get 50 or 60. And
it'll be a packed center then.
oh yeah,
isn't it?
Penske has done our Christmas lunch and dinner for a couple of years, and
Wow.
I believe this year we had
Let's pause on that.
55 veterans that came
At
in.
the Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm going to have them stop on this wall. Can you tell me about this wall? I was fascinated when I was there.
That's our patch wall, and the Army, every unit, they have a lot of patches and, different units, and we have catalogs. The guys will come in and say, hey, I was in this unit or that
Okay.
unit, so we put up a patch. We can buy the patch for them.
Oh.
And so it's a conversation piece. A guy will walk in, a veteran will walk in and say, hey, I
Hey,
was
I
in
know
that
that.
unit, or you don't have my patch, and we'll pull out a catalog.
Okay.
And a friend of ours, she usually orders a couple of each patch, so somebody might want to put a patch on the wall and put a patch on their coat or something.
Okay, I was going to ask if they could also do that,
Yeah.
that they could wear.
So
Okay.
it's mainly a conversation
Yep.
piece.
It's nice, very nice.
Yeah.
All righty, and as we continue through, I'll let you take over and tell us what we're going to see in these other areas.
Well, Liz did all the decorating, and when you walk into place, it's veteran friendly.
Absolutely.
You can tell it's
Yep.
it's their place.
Yep.
So
Now
that's
this
our
is-
kitchen right
yeah.
there. The counter is 23 feet long. We don't have an oven or a stove because of the codes,
Okay.
but we have enough receptacles for crock pots, roasting pans, griddles, hot plates. We've had every kind of meal served in there
Really?
already. Yes, we've had
Wow.
every type of food.
Now, do you serve a meal every day?
No, we have different organizations that come in and serve a meal, either, breakfast. Our pastor comes in once a month and makes omelets.
Okay.
A lot of groups come in. They're on the schedule once a quarter or something, and they do pancake breakfast, lunch. We've had everything
Either or,
for
you
lunch.
can do lunch or
Yes.
breakfast or lunch, whatever works.
So our hours are 9 to 11:30, but if they're serving a lunch, we can stay later.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we stay later.
Okay.
And if there's no meal, we always have donuts or cookies or something, and our one volunteer will have ring bologna and cheeses and stuff like that.
That's nice. Okay.
So there's always something to eat. We go through, I can't tell you how many pots of coffee.
Coffee. I was
Yeah.
going to say, I'm sure coffee is on all the time too. All righty.
Oh, we served a lot of meals there already.
I'm
a lot.
sure. And it's wonderful that you're having, again, volunteers that are
Yeah.
coming in to do that.
Uh-huh.
That's great. So if we move on with this now.
Now, that's our pantry.
Okay.
We just were inspected once a year. We get inspected by the food bank, and
Okay.
so everything's in tubs and it's labeled. And those are all private donations. So the private donations we can give to any veteran at any time.
Okay.
The food from the food bank, we give that out on that specific day, the last
Okay.
Saturday of the month, because there's paperwork involved, and they tell us their
The criteria-
income.
okay, so that's a part of
they
their-
don't have to
the-
prove it.
the
They
food
just tell
bank's
us.
guidelines
Right.
that you're following for that. Okay.
But sometimes different groups, Penske, they do our pantry about once a quarter. They're real good to us.
Great.
They'll buy 500 TV dinners or 60 of everything, 60 lunch meat, 60
Okay.
cheese, 60 milk,
Wow.
60 dozen eggs, and
That's wonderful.
whatever. Yeah.
That's wonderful. All righty. And then I think we have another area, yeah.
That's our
Another
room. We call it the clothing room. In our pantry, it's just food. Everything else, laundry detergent, diapers, clothing, personal care items, deodorant, dish detergent, boots, whatever is in this room.
Wow.
So,
That's
and
amazing.
most of the clothing is brand new. If we don't have certain items, if we have the finances, we'll go out and buy the jeans or the boots.
Okay.
We'll give the veteran one pair of boots a year.
Oh, wow.
And if they need anything, certain types of clothing for work, if they're getting a job, steel-toe boots or work clothes.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And I have a volunteer that takes care of the pantry, and I have
great.
one volunteer that takes care of that. Before it was renovated, it was just trash bags of stuff.
You can't find anything
No,
here. I see a lot of the daily, like household type
Yes, laundry
products.
detergent.
Yeah.
Well, we get most of our donations between Veterans Day and Christmas. Now,
Okay.
come April, that toilet
That
paper,
won't be quite as
that'll
full.
be empty. Yes,
Okay.
the laundry detergent
Okay.
and stuff. So I tell some groups, hey, why don't you hold off and maybe in April.
We could really use it in the springtime
Yes,
when your supply's a little low.
yeah.
Okay. That's a wonderful
Yeah.
setup. I didn't quite
the
expect
volunteers,
all of that.
The volunteers do all of it. They do all the work.
That is great.
Yes, I can't say enough about the volunteers.
And that's wonderful to have some dedicated
Yeah.
folks that
Yeah.
are doing all aspects. You've got the groups that are helping to, as you said, do the breakfasts and or lunches.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the other groups that are doing the donations of the food products, the working with the helping harvest, the folks that are doing any of the
Yeah.
personal items and things like that
Well,
are
we
so
have a lot of
important.
youth groups that help out.
Oh.
We do flag retirement ceremonies, so some Boy Scouts, Eagle Scout projects, we can hook them
okay.
up with something like that. And the different
Nice.
junior ROTCs, if we need an honor guard or something, they're available.
Nice.
So yeah, we get a lot of youth groups, soccer teams, wrestling teams. They'll do food drives for us. One club in Wilson High School sold soft pretzels and bought 65 pillows for us.
Oh, wow,
So,
wow.
yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm going to go back again to just make sure people know what we're talking about,
Okay.
which is the organization called Veterans Making a Difference, and you're located at the Paul R. Gordon Veterans Social Center at 645 North 6th Street in Reading. It's the lower level of the Hope Rescue Mission building. And let's go over again the it's open to anybody, but it's really
for
it's
veterans.
focused on veterans.
It's for veterans.
And your hours of operation again.
From 9 Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 11:30, at the second Saturday of the month and the last Saturday of the month. Now January will be open every Saturday. Different groups want to come in and do a meal, so we
okay.
stick them in on that Saturday,
Okay.
if possible. But,
Alrighty.
yeah, so it's 9 o'clock until 11:30, and the second and the last Saturday, Tuesday through Friday, and then the second and last Saturday.
And now I'm sure that obviously you have those items and you want to make sure the veterans get them, but I'm sure that you also have some established procedure, application for some of those things.
Well, we asked for proof of being a veteran, some
Okay.
type of identification, a DD-214 or some type of ID card.
Okay.
Liz is a veteran service officer, so if they don't have their DD-214, she can submit for it. It takes a couple of weeks
Okay.
for them to receive their DD-214.
Okay.
And then they can go down to the recorder of deeds and have it recorded and get a
Good.
veteran county ID card.
Good. Okay.
And so, like I said, she's a veteran service officer through the VFW, and
Okay. Good. And so they have some paperwork to get some of those things.
we
that
have
are
request
needed.
forms,
Okay.
so the veteran can fill out a request form. If they're looking for underwear, what style and what size. Socks or laundry detergent,
Right.
or
Okay.
long johns, thermal underwear.
And I know that we talked a little bit ahead of time that although this is the social center, also a lot of other things happen there in terms of, I believe that other people, I think what's great is you're connecting to so many organizations that other people who have services or programs i.e.,
Yes.
the Berks County Area Agency on
Yeah.
Aging, can somehow connect with you guys so that,
Yeah, we
that the
refer-
veterans that are there
yeah.
we can kind of hook up with.
Yes, we refer veterans to the different agencies and the different social or caseworkers, and for housing or
Okay.
for other benefits.
Okay, and that's great because then they
Yeah,
can.
we're
that-
a referral center.
Good.
We can refer them to
Good,
the
because we
proper
want to make
people.
sure that we're all working
Yeah.
together, as you've done so far with a lot of the groups that
Yes, we've called the Office
they're
of
aware of
Aging
us.
numerous times.
Good,
Yeah.
good. And again, other services that the veterans may be needing,
Yeah.
that there are professionals out there
Housing,
that can
yes,
come
for
there and meet
housing,
with them.
and yes, some of the caseworkers will meet the veterans there at our center,
Great.
or bring them to the center, show them what's available, and hopefully they'll come the next time by themselves.
Okay.
you know.
And it's nice because then they're in that comfortable environment to be able to manage some of the
Yeah.
things that you know from your experience that is really very helpful to them by getting them other
Loneliness
services.
is a bad thing. Like I said, no matter what your financial status is, doesn't matter. Loneliness is loneliness. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Doug, we have a couple minutes. What I'd like to just say is certainly I think more support is always welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what you'd like to see happen, or I'm sure you would accept. Will you accept financial donations?
Yes. They can always contact Liz, my wife Liz. Her phone number is 484 577-6898.
Okay.
If they want to do a meal,
Okay.
she can schedule that, or if they want to send a monetary donation,
Okay.
or even gift cards.
Okay.
They can mail it either to the Hope Rescue Mission in care of Veterans Making a Difference, or they can mail it to our house. They can check us out on Facebook. A lot of that information is on Facebook.
Okay, let me give that. That's
Yeah.
That's veterans. That's Facebook at Veterans Making a Difference. It's
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Liz keeps up on that. Our schedule is usually on Facebook.
Okay, good.
Or upcoming events, upcoming meals. So
Good.
She's pretty good at
And
it.
she also has. Let's give her email is Liz Graybill. That's LizGraybill @ yahoo.com.
Yep.
They could email her as well. Call her at 484-577-6898 to inquire about anything. If it's a veteran wanting to know, hey, remind me of those hours of operation. Where is it? What do I need to do to come? Show, get some items. Groups that want to help work either to do some fundraisers, to donate some items, to contribute financially. You'll take it all, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We're a little swamped right now, but like I said, it's between Veterans Day and Christmas, we get a lot of our donations.
And so maybe this is a good time to start our new year right, that people are starting to think about what they want to do in this new year of 2020. And maybe by then they'll have their ideas, their fundraisers, and be able to provide some of those items by spring and summer.
Yep.
One last, anything else that you want to wrap up the show with, Doug, that you want to make sure we know?
Keep your donations local, and you can see where they go and what your donations do.
And make sure that we encourage the veterans to go out and visit the center. And certainly you can give us a call at the Area Agency on Aging at 610-478-6500 if you want to have more information about the center. And I'm sure Doug and Liz are welcoming as well as the other veterans at the center. Again, thank you, Doug.
Okay,
I
thanks for
appreciate it very
inviting us.
much for you sharing that information, and thanks for tuning in to Aging Matters.